Hi guys, this is Food by Faith, and today we are going to be making a chocolate pound cake. So come on in and let's do this thing. So first I'm going to let you know about the different ingredients that I have going on here. So what we have is we have 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 1/2 cup, 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1/2 cup of cocoa powder. We have a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of baking powder, all in this bowl. For our liquid, we have 1 cup of buttermilk. We have a 1/2 cup of oil, 1/2 cup of butter flavored shortening. We're going to use 2 teaspoons of vanilla, 5 eggs, and 1 stick of unsalted butter. And then we have 3 cups of sugar. So guys, whenever you are doing your mise en place, make sure that you take your items out so that all of your ingredients come to room temperature. So what we are going to do is we're going to start off by mixing our sugar and our fats. So I'm going to put all of our different fats, our oil, our butter flavored shortening, and our butter. It's all going to go into the mixing bowl together. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cream that for just a little bit, and then I'm going to add in our sugar. And then we'll cream them all together. And again, guys, you want to make sure everything is at room temperature. Be careful so that your oil doesn't splash up all over the place. So we have this kind of cream together, and the reason why I did that is because you didn't want to put everything in there and it kind of clumped together. So sometimes you got to give that butter flavored shortening a little bit of a head start. So now we're going to add our 3 cups of sugar. And we're going to cream those together. And so as you can see, because we have decided to give our fats a head start, it did not take long to cream our our mixture together. So what, I'm getting a little tongue-tied this morning. All right, so the next thing that we are going to add is we're going to add our eggs one at a time. And you guys know that I like to crack my eggs into a separate container and then place them inside of my mixture, because I do not want to accidentally get a double yolk or anything like that. So we're going to let our mixer run on a low speed while we crack our eggs. And we have 5 eggs here at room temperature. And so this is the good part about cracking your eggs into a separate container, because I had a little shell in there and I was able to get it out. We're going to scrape down the sides of our mixture, because now we are going to go into the step of alternating our dry mixture and our liquid mixture. And guys, make sure while you are doing the mixing that you already have your bundt pan oiled and floured, and that your oven is set at 325 degrees. Okay, the benefit of having a glass bowl is being able to see inside. So now we are about to mix in our dry ingredients. And our dry ingredients again is 2½ cups of all-purpose flour, 1/2 cup of cocoa powder, a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of baking powder, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And remember, when you are bringing your butter to room temperature, make sure it is unsalted butter, because we do have salt in this dry mixture. And then we have our 1 cup of buttermilk here. And we're going to alternately place them into our cake mixture. We are going to begin with our liquid, and we're going to end with our liquid. Ooh, I'm making a mess. Okay, let's get our sides scraped down. We're going to add more of our dry ingredients. So now we're going to add the last bit of our dry ingredients. And now the last bit of our buttermilk. We're going to let this mix for just a little while, and then we're going to add in our vanilla, our 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and then I'm going to mix it the rest of the way with my rubber spatula. We're going to scrape down our sides and fold the batter, making sure you don't have any yellow and brown streaks. We want to make sure that our cake is fully mixed. And so this is the look that you are going for in your batter, making sure that it is completely mixed. And now we are going to transfer our batter from our bowl to our pan. All right. Let's smooth it around a bit. Make sure we get all of our ingredients. And then what we're going to do is we're going to tap it on the counter a couple of times just to make sure we remove any air bubbles. All right. And now it's ready for the oven. So we're going to place our cake into the oven. And we're going to set our timer for 1 hour and 15 minutes. And at the hour and 15-minute mark, we're going to check it. And if it needs 5 minutes more, we'll give it 5 minutes more. So, all right, guys, continue on what you're doing. And we'll be back in 1 hour and 15 minutes. So we are here at the hour and 15-minute mark. And you hear that our timer is going off. So we're going to turn our timer off, and now we are going to check our cake. And you guys know I always have my skewer. It smells really, really good. I'm going to bring you in just a bit closer so that you can see. And what we're going to do is we are going to take our skewer and go down into the cake. And as you can see, comes out clear. So that means we can turn our oven off. We're going to bring our cake out. And we are going to come on over, and you remember our glaze. So with our glaze, we did 1 stick of butter. We did 1 stick of butter. We did a cup of sugar, a 1/3 cup of water, and now we're going to add some vanilla extract. So just like we did before with our glaze, we took the blunt end of our skewer, and what we're going to do is poke some holes down into our cake. And remember, try not to go all the way down to the bottom. So guys, what I'm noticing is once we get to the center of the cake, we have a little moistness. So what we're going to do is we're going to place our cake back into the oven, and we're going to let it cook for about 5 more minutes. Because again, we want the skewer to come out clean. And in one area that I placed the skewer in, it did come out clean. But in another area, there is a little moistness, so we're going to place it back into our oven, 325, for 5 more minutes, and I'll bring you back. All right, our cake is ready, and we are pulling it out of the oven. All right. We have our glaze ready. I keep so many of these. So we are going to poke some holes all over the bottom of our cake. And we're going to ladle some of this syrup over the top. And you guys have seen how I do this before. I keep my countertop lined with plastic wrap, and then I also place a plate underneath. This is hot. Trying not to keep up with bad habits, guys, of touching hot pans. So we're gonna ladle this syrup over the top of the cake. And what this is going to do is going to make for a very moist cake. And once we do this, what we're going to do is let this sit for about 5 to 7 minutes. And you know, I always tell you, do not let it sit for a very long time, because what you do not want is for your cake to stick to the pan. And this syrup can cause your cake to stick to the pan. And besides that, leaving your cakes in their cake pan for too long will cause them to seize to the pan. And all of that hard work will have gone to waste. But not for me, honey, because I eat this cake right out of the pan. And I'll advise you to do the same. But guys, enough. So we're going to let this cake sit for about 5 to 7 minutes. And then I'm going to bring you back and we're going to turn it out of our cake pan here. And then we're going to let it rest until it is completely cooled. And once it is completely cooled, then we are going to dress it. We are going to do a vanilla glaze. And we're also going to do a caramel and chocolate drizzle on top of the vanilla glaze. So this is going to be a decadent dessert for your family on New Year's. Stay tuned. So we are back. It has been 5 to 7 minutes and we are going to remove our cake from the pan, because again, we do not want our cake to seal to the pan. Alright, so guys, remember me telling you that whenever you're making a cake and you have the different fats, so you have your different butter, you have your oils, you have your shortening, they all play a role when you're baking your cake. And so with this cake, I wanted it to have a little softer texture than my regular pound cakes. So that's why I added more oil than I did butter. But I also wanted to have the crispy edges. We absolutely love the crispy edges. And so that's where the butter came into play. So whenever it's time for this cake to be sliced, it will have a nice softer crumb. Wherein if I was to make it completely with butter, it would have a tighter, firmer crumb. They're all great, they're all good, but because of what I was trying to achieve with this chocolate cake, that is why you saw that I added oil instead of all butter. So we are going to let our cake completely cool. So while my cake is cooling, I'm going out to the garden so that I can get a salad ready for my brunch. What are you going to be doing while your cake is cooling? Let me know. Hey guys, we are back and we are ready to dress our cake. So what I did was I went ahead and I made our glaze. And what I have here is a cup of confection sugar, cup of powdered sugar. I have a teaspoon of vanilla, and I have roughly a tablespoon of almond milk. And I wanted it to have a thicker consistency because I want the glaze to lay on the cake and let gravity kind of take its course. And then I also have a chocolate sauce here. And what I did was I melted some chocolate chunks and then I added Paramount crystals. And Paramount crystals, they're something that I use. It's an ingredient that I use when I'm doing my chocolate covered Oreos. It keeps my chocolate nice and beautiful and keeps it very smooth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put our glaze over our cake first, and then we're going to come behind it with our chocolate drizzle. And again, remember to have your countertop lined with plastic wrap, and then I have a plate underneath as well, and that makes for easy cleanup. So this is what we're going to do. We are just letting gravity do its thing when it comes to the cake. We are not forcing the glaze to go in one direction or the other. What I want to do is make sure I get it all out. And again, you see how it's draining through our cooling rack here. We would have a mess on our kitchen counter if we didn't have it lined. And so now that we are done with that, I'm going to bring you in because I want you to see how the Paramount crystals make our chocolate very, very loose. So using the Paramount crystals, you can see how loose our chocolate is. And again, what I did was I melted the chocolate chunks first in 30-second intervals. And once it was at the consistency that I wanted, I added in the Paramount crystals and I stirred them until it became the consistency that is pourable. And so this is what we have right now. And what we are going to do is we are going to add our chocolate. So guys, this is a very decadent dessert, so eat it in moderation. Make sure you go walk your dog afterwards, or just take a family walk. And there you have it. We're going to let this cool. And then our cake will be ready to slice. So thank you guys for coming into my kitchen with me today, joining me on this chocolate journey. Remember to get up, get out, and grow something, and have faith in your food. See you next time.